What's up, guys? It's me, Do Not Obey, and let's get into another video. Now, we are reviewing the book, I'm reading the book, The Navigator Who Crossed the Ice Walls. Now, I will be reading, as you know, the beginning of each chapter and the end of each chapter, and filling in the middle with my notes due to copyright. So, with that being said, let's get into chapter 3. We have crossed the walls. We set sail, at last, from Charleston Harbor. Captain Butler was leading this adventure that we calculated between a few stops to arrive. With enough provisions, we would be reaching the cold and Arctic waters in about 140 to 150 days at the most. As we left, we all had a mixture of excitement and panic from everything we had experienced in the previous days. We were also not quite sure why Butler had hidden himself in this way. Had we become the enemies of a force where we're going to be able to actually face? Butler also mentioned another race. What had we really gotten ourselves into? Baby. Okay. Let's get into these notes. All right. Now, the days went by and everything was going really, really well. They stopped for provisions from time to time while facing sporadic storms. I mean, these storms were bad, okay? That the ship did end up withholding, like it withheld, okay? Did not break apart. The second night of them leaving the last port straight to Antarctica, Morris was on deck battling if what he was doing was right. He was excited about the adventure, but he was also scared that they were dealing with a force that they couldn't even beat. While Morris was going through all of this in his head, Butler approaches him stating this. Butler approaches him just shooting some small talk, which leads into Butler admitting now, and this is what Butler was stating when he walked up to Morris, that the story that he told on the other ship that night about a captain seeing the ice wall was actually him. And Butler said, this is why he is wanted. People are looking for him, hence why he had to hide himself. Okay. Morris said if he had any doubt, it was definitely gone now. Morris tried to flood Butler with as many questions as he could think. But Butler definitely stopped him. Butler told Morris, don't worry, you will see it too. And he means you're going to see the ice wall, you're going to see the open passage, you're going to see it. So 138 days later, they were in the icy waters. Now, Morris noticed a huge change. The waters were dark as night. The ship was getting constantly hit by humongous waves. But by the crew seeing Butler staying calm, it put ease over everybody else on the ship because they figured if there was an issue, Butler would alarm them. They end up crossing a huge mountain. Now, Morris states that the water they were sailing on was hard to describe. The snow, the water, everything was unique with beauty. They were sailing parallel to a giant wall, 80 to 90 meters high. Within some places between the wall was taller than 90 meters. Morris noticed that the reddish yellow glow that he was seeing on the horizon was actually part of the ice wall. Near this giant mountain, Blocks of ice was just beautifully falling into the sea. The weather was definitely not getting any better. It was getting worse. More high winds, more high waves, constantly hitting the ship. The closer they got to the wall, they could feel a heat, a strange heat coming from off of the ice wall. Butler suddenly shouts, "Morris, Morris, come on deck." There it is. There it was. There you go. There was a passage opened in the wall. Butler did not hesitate. He turned the ship and headed between the wall. The ship did brush against the ice wall from time to time, bobbling. And then from here, let's get in to what they say. Suddenly and once we were sailing on this current that was dragging us. Calm seemed to invade our surroundings. The storm ceased, and although the cold was still lashing, it was no longer overwhelming. We were in an inexplicable ecstasy. I got it. This narrow passage was opening more and more and gave way to an open sea. My eyes did not lie, although I doubted them several times. The captain shouted, "We made it! We made it!" And all of us celebrated with surprise and amazement. We were in the waters that only a few have ever reached, or so we thought at that moment, at least. The dark waters began to clear. The ice walls were still visible, but were being lost in the distance. The sun that complemented our feet was falling on the horizon. It was time to boast. I gathered the team by decision of the captain, who called us all with some seriousness. He was going to make an important announcement. He began by saying that what he was going to comment was not about him, nor about the team, nor about knowing the known lands they were leaving behind. It was about the whole of humanity and its past. Well, I'm excited, y'all. We're getting in there. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. And like I always say, do not obey, stay woke. Chapter 4 coming up next. Peace.